I am the priestess of Pleiades. I have come with a message for you. Hi guys, thank you very much for joining me. Paulina here, talking about an interesting subject, a touchy subject for some, called worship, guru worship, and also any kind of unconscious involvement in groups and other situations that are not of creation, they're not of nature, they're not of natural origins, so things that are not good. And how to tell or what to look out for when you are on the journey to discover you, and especially during this particular type of year, a journey to discover another person or perhaps other people to click with, and how not to get caught. And why am I doing this? Not because I do this. I'm actually doing this for a very different reason, because I'm looking at my past. So my mother's family, my mother's grandparents on her father's side were church people. You know, they were people of the church. They served in church. They were Christians. And in my father's line, there was some Christian extremism. And I feel it's also important to state that I've got a very culty upbringing. So I was brought up very, very new age, and my mum really fiercely believed in a few things that she did not need to teach a child. So that's actually another thing to mention. If you're into this type of stuff, if you're into crystals, if you are into any of these types of metaphors, archetypes and beliefs, please, if you've got children under the age of 21, please don't involve them in them, because it is not good. This is great information. Like, all of this esoteric psychic stuff is perfect for a person who has made a lot of mistakes, hasn't really committed to themselves, hasn't finished, hasn't done anything, and then they want to uprise again. So if you are a young person, you don't need to watch this, you know, and definitely do not include your children in this type of stuff. But also another reason is because I have lost my family to a cult. So my family follows the Vedas to such an extreme that they have dishonored me because I don't want to follow their religious system. So this is like sort of a mix of Russian Orthodox, Vedic and Hare Krishna religions that were just kind of like put together into the scheme by a man who runs the cult. And I guess I also lost a partner who I really cared about to a cult leader. And also once I've dated a person who had Jehovah's Witness upbringing, which was really hard to shed. But then also there were a few different people in my life that had very, very heavy religious unconscious. So with us all, there is a need for mother and father, and we are in Aries, and this to me represents the ever-growing child and the evolution of the now. I'm no longer really, how can I say, exploiting myself as a guru or guide, basically because I don't know enough, and the more I find out, the more I realize I have to learn, and the less my feelings are towards guru work, the more I receive guru work. And I feel that's really quite interesting, quite weird, because I'm actually debunking my own life through these people. But for you, if you are looking for a teacher, and especially because we're in a very social dog year, if you have not found yourself and you're trying to find that crowd, okay, so the New Age has got a very, very different name and different taste, and I'm seeing a lot of people being segregated into different groups, and also I'm seeing a lot of followers, you know, for people that probably don't even exist. So where I am here is, I guess I would like to warn you about a few different things that are patterns here, and I would like to also, I guess, point you in the right direction, which is just you are the right direction. And you don't even need me, you don't really need astrology, unless you are lost or you're stuck and you just haven't really found that feeling, you know, you haven't really found that feeling of joy inside. If you haven't quite found yourself and you don't really know how to do it, ask me, ask another person. But this is not something I feel for you if you're just doing it because you're kind of curious, you've got a lot of time on your hands. If you've got a lot of time on your hands, there shouldn't be time on your hands. We're in a really progressive time at the moment. We should not have to be lazy or kind of feeling ordinary or feeling kind of off. If you're feeling off, it's okay. But the thing is, you don't need to listen to me. And that's just what I'm going to say. So if you are with a teacher, a guru, representative, or a leader, and they have nothing to tell you, but they say you need to come back here, you need to sign up, don't go. Just don't go. That's happening all over. I'm in Ubud at the moment. It's a spiritual hub in Ubud. You know, it's a spiritual center of Bali, of Indonesia, I suppose, to some degree. It's one of the spiritual centers of the world, I suppose. Ubud is quite famous for spirituality and spiritual connection, but this is it. So when you listen, when you see, and a person's telling you, come here, go here, this person knows, this is the only guy who knows, don't go. You don't need to do it. Why? Because it's just not important. Always look for your own interest. You know, some people will not find connection until they see a person who knows, or a person who sees, or a person who perceives. And a lot of people are just there. It's like they don't need to be pushed around. Sometimes, occasionally, yeah, a person will come to me and I'm like, I really don't think I need to see you. I think you're fine. You just had to do a couple of things for yourself. So, but then there are sometimes people with a lot of unconscious behavior that really have been stuck for a long time. I'm like, great, okay, we'll sort this out. And also keep in mind, a teacher is the one who learns. And ones who do not, and they just think they know it all, or they have a connection and that's irrefutably theirs and irrefutably stamped in, especially the hiding behind a label or hiding behind some kind of force, they're not real. They're not real. Why? Because they don't learn. The whole point of this is to learn. An open-hearted person will never stop learning. That's one thing to learn. Perhaps they will never ever stop changing. They will never stop connecting to the feeling, oh my God, I know very little, or I actually don't know anything at all. So a learning guru, a learning person is much better than the one who just sits there and goes, yeah, I know everything. Yeah, that's right. Another couple of things definitely is not to worry about people who are not using their time correctly. People who are not living. How can you tell? They're always online. Or they have, say, a center and they're always the same. You know, they don't change. Like, they don't really work. They don't really connect. They don't really have a life. If a person doesn't have a life and they're just waiting for your emails, okay, that's not good. If there's a type of energy there which is not quite connected, for example, they have very unusual, strange interests, like they could be really skyrocketing, they talk about the aliens, they talk about all these different worlds, but they're not connected, so they don't live well, like say they don't sleep enough, or like say they don't eat well, they don't work out, or like they don't feel like they need to do anything that another person does, especially if a person is like sitting there and they don't really kind of do very much, but then they want to teach another person and they haven't succeeded and they struggle, and for example their life sucks, or like they just don't have enough energy, or they're like really low, they don't really know how to communicate with other people, and they're really afraid, or they just don't have anything to really connect with. People who are disconnected, and this is Jupiter and Scorpio, really perfect. People who are like labeled, or they somehow like the scapegoats of society, they're on the sidelines and never really try to commit to themselves. They're really never connected to their bodies, and then they go, I will teach you how to breathe. I will teach you how to breathe, and they don't know how to breathe. Okay, so it's like these people will not probably give you the most unless they are offshoots. So say they've got like some kind of unconscious process where they can just like see. That sometimes happens. Sometimes a person also occasionally heals without really having the health in their body. That sometimes does happen, but also these are very minor, or how can I say, off-shooting energies. If you are looking for a long-term integration with a person, you will become part of the energy field. You will share a lot of dimensions with them. So if you are, say, looking to become like, or you're looking to become like awesome as, or you're like on a very human level, you're trying to make a closing in of a contract together, you're trying to become a friend, or you're trying to become a partner, you're trying to become something better or something more embedded with them, choose wisely, choose wisely. Okay, so for example, if a person goes to a person like a guru or like a teacher, when they go, okay, I'll sign you up for more, you know, this is just the first session, you have to come back. If they tell you you have to come back, you got to go. You got to go up. If you're interested in you, please do not go more than once. You know, sometimes it is much better, it may be wiser to go once to get everything you want from that person. Ask as many questions as you want. You get everything, all the ins and outs. because they're in that place. They place themselves there as a treasure chest of connection. You know, they shouldn't say, I'll give you a little bit now, watch out for this. I'll give you a little bit now, and then you come back tomorrow, I'll give you a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more. And don't go there. So like a person who is a teacher, they should not be so precious with what they know, because they are unlimited. Don't go to a person who barters, a bartering guru that says, come back to me again. Or like, I will clean your energy field, but you have to come back and you have to make an appointment again twice next week. They're sucking you in, they're sucking you dry, and they can actually suck themselves in a lot further than you. It's just that it doesn't show on the external environment. People with a lot of weird stuff going on in their lives. If you know a guru, okay, make sure you know a guru. If you know a teacher personally, are they stuck? Are they always in damage? Are they always in damage control? Do they have nothing to do? Are they really, really afraid? Do they have health issues? Do they have reoccurring issues? Do they have something that they cannot fix? If you are not fixing you as you teach, you will get stuck. Because it's the thing, also taking on people's trauma sometimes, you got to fix yourself, you got to go back to the drawing table, you got to make it. Okay, so these are the people that are coming out now. And I've seen more than one. You know, Virgin Mary, you know, I am the Virgin Mary, reincarnate, and this is Jesus Christ, reincarnate. We walk the earth together, we are one. We teach people, and they will teach people silence, love, family. They will not actually make you believe in you as you've been born. And quite frequently they go, leave your home, come with us. This is our soul family. It's a galactic family. Be careful of that. Don't worry about it, because some of us, some of us who are very dislodged, only those who are very dislodged, like for example, somebody's been through prison, they haven't had anything at home, and then they go to find their like starseed family or some kind of galactic family. So they're using you, I, everybody else to feel like they're home. And the reason why they do it is because there's nothing else. It's not easy for them to just be alone yet, you know. But then, say for me, these types of people who come in and say, you are my soul family, and I've had a lot of people email me that, I'm just like, no, I'm not. I'm not. How come? It's just not energetically viable. Also, be careful. Internet, the interweb is a very, very nice atmosphere. It's very easy. You're watching me from the comfort of your own home. It's nice, isn't it? We are like in your room. We are in my room as well. But this is not it. If you are not connected to a person face to face, don't get disappointed if they don't call you back. Don't get obsessed if they're not answering your messages. Don't get, how can I say, hooked up to them like they're a personal friend. So this is something that people are forgetting. Also in a time of friendship dog year, isolation can be really disfocusing. It's really dysphoric. It's really weird. So sometimes people can get attached to me, or like, you know, other people, you know, another person who's putting themselves out there as an archetype. People know you face to face. People outside, people watching you, you know, people that are talking to you, telling you things online. There is no real density. There's not a real human touch there. You know, there is a little bit. We can sometimes come together online. It is for Venus in the 12th house people. It's for Pluto in the 12th house people. It's for a lot of different types of energies. Sometimes people can find a contract or a client or a person or a resemblance or a twin, maybe even very, very far away. That is rare. Maybe it's about 10%, 12% of the populace. But usually for us, human beings, as we are placed here, natural laws remain. We make friends. We feel each other. We smell each other. We get into each other's energy. That's how it is. So if you are somebody who's enamored with somebody who lives like in Prague and says, I am the Virgin Mary, you are not connected. So connect to yourself. And with people like myself, like people who are databases for knowledge, we're just there to be used, not in a bad way. We're just using ourselves as channels. We are replenishing it over and over, and there's too much. It's like, if you can imagine, if you had so many trees with apples on them, just so many trees with apples on them, that the apples were going stale and you weren't really sure as to what to do with apples, you sell the apples. You know, so we, people who have ample energy, or ample energy, ample energy, people that have ample energy, we're just giving it to you, you know what I mean? And we have an exchange, so we do not have to concentrate on other things, so it's like an exchange. But also, yeah, from that dimension also, careful of marketing. Watch out for marketers. What is a marketer? Okay. A person who sits in a very special cloak. A person, just look at their face. Look at their face. Okay, look at their face when they're talking. How do you know a marketer? I am the priestess of Pleiades. I have come with a message for you. I am God sent to this planet for greater evolution and joy. That's a marketer. That's not a real person. That's not a human. There's nothing human there. What is this? There's nothing. People that pout. People that make a face. People that have a conditional face. You know, people that don't actually want to just talk about what they're interested in. People that are not actually interested in what they're talking about. They're just interested in the image that they're providing. Also regalia. Regalia. You know, cloaks, hoods, you know, lots of jewelry. Sometimes not. Sometimes not. We all go through phases of that kind of stuff sometimes. But occasionally there will be a person who is regalia. You know, and also they've connected a certain type of prism. So for example, they've said, I'm an Arcturian messenger. You know, or like, I'm the Bashar guy, or I'm this, I'm that. Look at Osho. I mean, yes, questionable Osho. You know, like say, Ama, big people. But check it out. Check it out. What these people are doing, how their lives are. Also get a psychic to check in on them. Just saying, you know, like say, okay, I'm going to think of a person. What do you think? And they might say child abuse. And you're like thinking of somebody really famous. That's an interesting thing. So definitely with any kind of regalia, any kind of like supernova, rainbow, golden things, any type of thing where a person is constantly in contact with fashion, any kind of matriarchal, patriarchal figures, who says especially reincarnated Christ, or like I am Cleopatra reincarnate. No, no, because that's not real. The best thing I feel also is to check, do they have a special place there in the world, however they are, where they're trying to pack it in with money? Like say, come to my center. Okay, great. What do I get? You just get to sit with others and look at me. I don't understand this either. You know what I mean? Or, for example, yeah, okay, great example. If a person sits with you and they know you and they just crack you like this and they go, okay, so also to be careful. But sometimes, like, you know, you sit next to a guru and they say, okay, so your job's done this. You know, like say your mother's doing this. You've got 2 or 3 years to go there, and it seems to me that you've come here with a broken ankle. Something like that, got a sore ankle. They tell you a little bit, and you're like, damn, that's weird. Okay, keep in mind, that's interesting, that's interesting. But when they line you up like children, when you're lined up like sheep, and they're the shepherd, be very wary, because that's occult stuff. So for example, you know, you go and you turn up, they don't talk about anything, or they talk about the most pragmatic, boring stuff that you've heard, that you've read online from people who are amateurs, you know, like say, they tell you about certain type of archetypal figures, they tell you about God, they tell you about, they take you on a little journey, you know, we talk about the cosmos, and they say a couple of really, really bland and frustrating things, you know, like they're like, when the moon and the sun, you know, we all one, you know, like, and they tell you the same thing. You don't, you know, in the 20 minutes or in the 40 minutes that you've talked to them, you don't flinch, you don't feel anything. You're like, oh wow, that actually made me, you're not making progress. Your mind is not going like this. Your heart is not feeling anything. Your body just feels like, oh, okay. If you go into this doting trance and you're one of the sheep and you're in front of the shepherd, you know, it's not gonna give you anything. So, okay, so you're watching The Big Bang Theory, for example, right? And you don't find it funny, you don't find it exciting, it doesn't really make you go ping, ping, ping. You just go, oh, where is your willpower? Where are you? Nowhere, we're gone. Watch something else. Watch Oprah, I don't know, watch, I don't know, some kind of other show. Watch something else. Why? Because when we give something to another person that we cannot take back, which is time and attention, where is it all going? It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. So have a look. How hard do you have to work to also listen and understand? Some people are not for you. You know, I'm very much like this, you know, and then there's people that are like Pleiades, you know, the moon, the stars, and my God, I can't listen to these people. Why? Because my time is limited. But for some people, it's not about time. It's just about like open spaces. Oh, I just like this dream, you know. Some people are here to dream, you know, some people here are not. Some people are here to awaken. So if you want to get results, you have to know why you're doing it. Do you know why? Because it is like, it's madness. It's like going to architecture school when you don't want to be an architect. Why? That's 3 or 4 years gone. Why? Because sometimes people don't know what spirit is, and spirit is joy. What brings you joy? What makes you happy? What gets you from point A to point B? What helps you feel like, oh, that problem I had in my head for 3 years, amazing, I can see now. Or like this person that goes, oh, these different people that used to really bother me and bug me, now like I can see because this person has helped me understand. Sometimes we need it, but sometimes we don't. And that's okay as well. So with all these kinds of like needy feelings, these are naughty feelings. I need this person to help me. I need this person to show me. It's a naughty feeling. It's a naughty feeling because we haven't come into ourselves. But for those people who have tried, and this is why I would say that probably the perfect age, probably the perfect energy when it comes to me are either people that are about to say, make a big mistake. For example, they're about to go into a course, so they're about to start a big corporation type of business without really knowing who they are. I love these people because I'm just like, okay, let's have a look. Okay, before you build, let's have a look. And another type of person that I love, people who have come to the end. Just like people that are like over 50 and they haven't quite yet truly, you know, put their things together. They haven't put their ducks in a row yet. You know, they have multiple times, but it just keeps on breaking. So things that are not legitimate, things that are not integral, things that are not holding, that's when you need someone. It's like you don't go to a doctor if nothing's broke. You know, and a lot of people do say, actually, I had a person say this to me. Why do people say I need healing? You know, they're healthy. Some people don't need us gurus. Some people don't need a teacher. And these people usually, those types of people that are just universally fine. You know, they look fine, they look beautiful, nothing's wrong, nothing's off, nothing is tainted. They're just walking around, they're just doing their thing. And sometimes they just need mum and dad. They need encouragement. Another thing, people that don't know it, but they just need a kind word. Some of us just need a kind word. Some of us need not a mum and dad replacement, which is what a guru is sometimes to another person. Unfortunately, especially like, I mean, you know, take Amma. She's a perfect representative of a mum. And all it is just like the mother wound. Fix it. Don't like leech of it, because by the time that we're a certain age, we should not need to, how can I say, leech off an old childhood memory. You know, these types of things happen with gurus and guru worship and people that are learning. Also with healing, a lot of people don't have to have it. What I mean is, you know, sometimes it's really crazy, like, you know, coming to Ubud and these people, yeah, definitely, you know, go, I need healing. And it's like, what are you? You're a beautiful young person. You're 21. You're like a shining light. You're in alignment. Your body is perfect. You're wonderful. You're just an incredible human being. You don't need people like us. You don't need people like us because you don't need to get to that point where you are breaking down quite yet. You're still connected, still together, still kind of unbelievable. Sometimes you're a joker at that age. Sometimes, you know, you bump your head, you know, you kind of like, you get around, you do crazy things. But for some people that are in a bad place, and by the age of 21, they've dealt drugs, they've been in bad situations, they've tried prostitution, they've done a lot of different things. That's fine. But only for really broken youths. So another couple of things about gurus, teachers and representatives. Okay, what to look forward to, or what to kind of watch out for. Okay, money, the language of wealth. Okay, if this person has got not much and they're encouraging you to also not have anything, that's not so great. If they encourage the world to do something that's really extreme, probably not so great. If they want you to betray your family and walk away, not so good. If they, despite who you are, okay, this is actually a big thing. Despite knowing you personally, and despite knowing your story, your energy, and your own individual reality, they just want to swipe everything you've had and touch you. You know, they want to touch your heart. That's really weird because not everybody's on the same connective level. Not everybody needs to just like abandon their homes and take out all they've got and just put it into their business. You know, also another thing to worry about or be concerned about, followings and people saying the same things. Dawdling, you know, people saying the same things. Hypnotized people, hypnotized energy. One other thing I probably have to say and add, because we've got Jupiter here in the Scorpio, we've also got a lot of really strange energy at the moment. Okay, I wouldn't, if I were you, go to a workshop, okay? Go to a workshop with an image or a memory that this is going to be somewhere where you find the one. Okay, twin flame theory, yeah. Also, tantric workshops, anything on opening the heart. And you might see very quickly people just become buzzed in the brain. I went to one of those recently, just before actually. I went to a workshop like that. People are just buzzed in the brain. See people, see if they're awake. What is an awake person? It's not a person that goes, that's not an awake person. Who is in the moment? Who's in the moment? Who's still operating? You know, not someone who goes, oh, okay, we're gonna sing kirtan now. Okay, I'm gonna put on my kirtan face, you know. Watch out, this is actually beginning to really scare me. And this is general, this is about the new age. There are certain lingo and there are certain facial expressions and there are certain type of conversation that a lot of people have. Repetitive moods, repetitive behavior, repetitive things, repetitive themes, repetitive tattoos, matching tattoos, things that are very similar. The way that people walk, this is very unconscious stuff, and I can't believe that people can't see this. So like how people talk, how people walk, how people introduce themselves, how people change their names to ancient Sanskrit names, you know, people changing themselves for nothing. This is not just a fad, this is a dying fad, you guys, okay? Anything that you are is good as you are. There is a need to talk about these things and nobody really says a thing. With witches, with doctors, with shamans. Shaman is a really impractical thing, but everybody wants to be one, right? Shamanism, you know, all of these things, not much people want to say a thing about it. Not many people, and do you know why? It's because I feel that we've been energetically or emotionally tainted by these things. You know, it's like, say, go to a tantric circle or tantric community. It's like everybody just slept with everybody, and that's just how it has gone. And if you don't say anything, you're wise, and if you say something, you are a prude, or you're cruel, or you're strange, or you're lost. This is something that I feel is to be very, very, very aware of, because sometimes people will just have a sheepish silence, even though things are going on that are not good. I wouldn't go into any kind of community, structure, conversation with God, any of those types of things, with people who are really high up there. Quantum mind, of the unapplicable stuff. Quantum mind, we can all fly. We are all angels. We are all interdimensional beings. We are all above the earth, not here. You don't need your body. You know, you don't need your body. But this is the thing. It's like a holistic approach. Holistic healing. And it could be really basic. You know, perhaps the best guru for yourself is just a gym instructor. You know, or it could be just a dietitian. You know, there could be something really, really good and worthy and just simple things, because not everybody really needs the high quantum materials to really get themselves ahead, unless they are at that point. And there are some people that are actually able to be only moving when they're impressed by somebody who knows a lot. So that's quite a fickle sort of thing. Group activity on the subject of spirituality isn't going to be easy for the next 2 or 3 years, because it feels to me that Earth is saying, just let go, just let your mind understand or not understand, just allow it to be how it is. But with us, there is a very interesting program as we need to merge, especially with the pig year after the dog year. It's like we want to merge, we want to make homes, we really want to make it matter, because the series of events that has happened up to about 2010 has, I feel, led us to each other and also led us apart. and will also lead us back together. So we've got these really, really crazy quantum events since about 2010, but we have to also understand where we are. Where we are. So like say, when people used to watch a lot of TV, right? Like now it's awesome because people are like itchy for knowledge. But you know when people used to watch a lot of TV and they used to just switch off, and then they didn't really understand that they weren't really married, they were kind of just stuck together, or like they didn't really have a job, they just had sort of like some kind of like a idea of service, or like they didn't really have a connection with the children, they just had a beginning that kind of never really began, you know what I mean? Or like they didn't really have themselves, you know, but they had TV. And now it's like a different sort of a crisis, but also a beautiful crisis, because like a learning crisis, it's a different curve. People are educating themselves on who they be. But this is the thing also, is that people do not how can I say, people also don't need you if you're a guru. That's actually a very excellent thing to know. If you are like me, okay, and if you're teaching people, if you're like showing off, or you're doing something, or you're taking care of yourself, but you're also showing another person how to read cards, you know, how to make sense, how to do Reiki. Okay, if you're teaching people, there is not probably that many people that need to be your apprentice. Not many. There is probably not going to be that many people that even need to compare knowledge with you. Because some of us are not really astrologers either. You also don't see that the 12th house sometimes, the multidimensional energy that happens behind a person to be able to do what they do. Also sometimes, like say we see a fitness guru and they say anybody can do this. No, because it depends on a person and their unconscious mind and what God has given them energetically and what their body is able to produce to be able to be a fitness guru, for example. So when you're looking, say, at an astrologer and you're like, say, emailing me, or you're emailing Carpaccio Alicia, and you're trying to show your knowledge and say, my Pluto is in the 3rd house and I'm doing this, la la la, and I understand that my Chiron is doing this, and I understand my Venus is doing this, you're not talking to them. You are showing them something that you perhaps could do. So do not try to be like another person. This is another thing. Being like another person is really hard. It's actually kind of near impossible for most of us. So in terms of like, say, connecting to a guru, it is not very likely that they're going to truly teach or help you. And also with astrologers, tarot card readers, and other people, even psychics, even natural psychics, I would not advise you to teach everybody. I would not advise you to, you know, take someone on and say, like, see how your Chiron's done this, well, your Pluto's done, because that person could just be a mom. You know, that person could be a mom, and in a really beautiful way. Say she's got a family, you know, she's got a husband, you know, say she's got 2 or 3 kids, you know, she's loving, and she's like, say, really good with her hands, and she's beautiful, and she's warm, and she's more like of an energy healer, you know, and you're going to like stuff her head with like Pluto Chiron stuff. It's not easy. With apprentice work, okay, if you are, say, apprentice to a guru, apprentice to someone, how can I say, don't entangle yourself into anything unless it's face to face. You're eating at the same table with them. You might be living just around the corner from them or something like that. And then they come to you, they, you know, share the news, you know, they share what they've learned, they share what they've done. This is a very enigmatic energy, and it has to be very, very clear. It's got to be very creative, and it's got to be very true. If you like, say, someone new to astrology and you're messaging me and saying, my Chiron, my Venus, that's very, very trivial. You can get like an answer, but what if you're not even meant to be talking to a person like myself? What if you could just like go hang out with some of your peers and enjoy a beautiful like game of basketball, and then have a beautiful beer on the beach, and just love and hug and have a bonfire, and like go into the ocean naked and just have what I do not, what I don't need anymore. You know what I mean? It's because I got different values, unconscious values. So the thing is, keep you, and then everything else is just, how can I say, all the gurus, all the centers, all the specialty consciousness expanding facilities, all of that stuff. Take what you need. Be aware. Are you bored? Are you bored? Am I bored? If you're bored, let it go. Just let them go. Let them be. Because we are not meant to be sucking things in. You know what I mean? So teachers, politicians, people in any kind of matriarchal, patriarchal role, you know, like teachers, astrologers, you know, psychics, we are just databases. It's like, I've got too many freaking apple trees. Who's gonna have my apples? Because I got too many trees. Then you just come in, you take your freaking apples and you leave. You don't have to be like another one of these people. And it is really hard because, say for example, someone like me on YouTube is like alongside someone like Jenna Marbles, who's just a freak. She's beautiful, she's friendly, and she's fresh, and she's someone that you could perhaps have as a friend. So it's really difficult. Also, crossing of barriers, crossing of boundaries. If you say had a sister, you had a breakup with your sister, and you see me as a sister and you want to be sisters with me, that's not good. You know, say you want an armor because your mother was not there, not good. You want an Osho because your father was not good, you know. It's very, very easy with gurus and any kind of teacher. So keep in mind, although we talk about some topics that people can sometimes feel very emotional about, have a lot of feelings about, and have a lot of unconscious kind of discrediting energy about, like, so like people can feel like, oh my god, I can't believe, you know, this person is my dream boat, or like this person talks about my feelings, you know, this person's able to actually connect the dots, okay. And then they feel, because this is really weird, it's computer world, you know, they feel like you and I like are talking, say, over like a table with some wine, you know, and it feels like a really normal conversation, but it isn't. This is a recording, this is a digital recording. I'm talking to me, but I'm also talking to you about some interesting things. But the thing is, not to worship or not worship, not to cross the line, Also trolls, other things about people who are just not in control of their feelings, and they want to spike you, or, you know, say if you're teaching other people, or if you are doing whatever work you're doing on whatever level. It is not easy, it is not easy stuff, but I feel that the easiest way to understand it is that this is a portal, okay, that, you know, this is a channel, it really is just a box of stuff. And I'm saying, hey, look, this is what I found this week. Have a look at the box of stuff. And yes, you can tap into my frequency and you can have a look, because I'm like this. Please, this is all that I have. You know, at the moment, this is all I got. You know, and it is not easy to probably understand. But yes, we're exchanging energy here. If you look at me, I probably can look at you energetically back. You know, so it's all very, very interdimensional. It's very hard to understand. It's very screwy. Yes, it's very interesting. So this is a database. You know what I mean? So it's like Wikipedia, okay, you know, Paulina's channel, okay, like someone else, okay. These are just tools for you. There is nobody there. This is just, you know, here, please have this, you know, go, you know, here, have a pamphlet, you know, take your time. And the only people I feel that are meant to be constantly watching these things, in terms of like me or other people, book after book of Osho, you know, Drama Central with Armor, you know, all of these things. The only type of people that are meant to be doing this consistently, which is what my mom has done, and actually drove her to a really, really insane edge where she can't actually get herself together anymore, is the type of person who, like, they don't want to be alive. They don't want to live. What? They don't want to live. So take your time. Why esoterics has always been banned, all this metaphysical stuff has been banned, because it pulls a person out of their freaking life. But if you've already been pulled and you just didn't want to live, you had no interest in anything, and you just didn't understand, you got taken and you got replaced with a different type of energy. Here, okay? That's okay, because that has been a choice, and that's something that my mind has perhaps regretted, but it also kind of like felt okay, you know. So for you, if you are learning, you know, if you are leaning into this new age, because new age is mainstream, now, it's cool to know about Kundalini, it's cool to talk about Jesus Christ, or Christ consciousness with a K, you know, it's cool, and like, you know, here, like, you got these books, like, for example, you've got like 6 or 7 tapes of, I don't know, whatever you're listening to is great. Make sure, if you have like a spill, like say, I sometimes, you know, used to listen to Esther Hicks non-stop, and then I didn't really get anything out of it, but there was some like root causes of certain things that I kind of saw in me, and I helped myself ascend through things. I also used to listen to her while I was at the gym, so I didn't really have to really concentrate. If you just listen to me while you're in the kitchen doing something, that's great. That's much better than, you know, just watching my stuff. You know, what's there to see, really? You know, like, it's not something that has to be seen, you know, like, not something that has to be seen. The thing with all these like videotapes and the collections, like say you got collection of Osho, you got collection of some kind of like other teacher or person, it is all right for a person that is completely out of the picture. It's like you tell them, hey, you want to dress up and go somewhere? They're like, I don't understand what clothes is. You know, okay. Do you kind of want to meditate with me or go to a yoga class? Why? Hey, do you want to like maybe meet somebody? Maybe you will find support in a friend or a boyfriend or a girl. No, I don't like people. Okay, you get these people. Sometimes there are certain type of people that don't want to live. And they can't connect. And they have done the ayahuasca thing, they've done the circles, they've done the fire ceremonies, they've done it. And they tried it, but they don't need it. And here is where you have someone like me at a certain time of my life where I just came out of my body and I was replaced by other things. You know, that does not lead you to a joyful, connected life necessarily. If you're watching a lot of these things, if you are stuck and you are looking at astrology, you're looking at numerology and you can't stop, and you don't care. Clothes are cosmetic, eating, you can't even taste the flavor, you're not caring, you don't really want anything. If you don't want anything, like me at a certain point in my life, discard all else. Okay, I'm studying esoterics. Okay, I've got like say 7 books on Osho, and I got Esther Hicks, and I got this and I got that. Some people do it for fun. You know what I mean? Like, I had a boyfriend once, you know, who started at 18, you know. The thing is, with these types of literatures, with these types of books and knowledges, they don't actually lead you anywhere, okay? The best thing is, you come to someone, you go, I got a problem. This happens, this happens, this happens. And they go, great, I can see also. That happens, and that happens. And they're like, yeah, that's exactly right. And then you go, this is why this is why this is why this. You kind of tidy up all the edges for them as a reader. And you go, all right, now you don't come back. Why? You don't need to. You go back to your home, you go back to your life, you go back to you. And this is not a pragmatic thing. This is just how it is. And yeah, a lot of oracles are like, I'm an oracle, but I also love myself. You know, I'm an oracle, but I'm also connected to other things. Not very much. Oracles usually don't. It's hard because everything is everything. It's like, and it's very hard to put it on, put it off. Connect, disconnect. Today I'm Oracle Paulina, tomorrow I'm going to a party. It's impossible because it is never gonna happen. It's gonna be always this. And there's also for you to know that this is not a hobby. If you are interested in doing esoteric work, if you're interested in pursuing tarot cards, if you're doing a lot of this type of stuff, you can come out, you can, but you might not ever come back because sometimes these types of energies don't let you back. It's not like walking out the door, walking back, walking out the door, walking back. It happens at first when you're first learning, but when you have found your business, like for example, I'm an oracle, you know, I'm doing astrology and I'm doing a few other different crazy things for people. Okay, great. That's not gonna let you out. But if it did, and if you have broken free and you decided, say during April is a great month to do it. I do not want it anymore. I want to be just a person. I just want to be a boy. You know, I just want to be a boy who walks around with a backpack and, you know, like picks up berries and, you know, drums on the tree trunks. I want my innocence back. If you want your innocence back, it is very easy to get it later, but you have to be determined. Okay, I want to just have a very simple life, and you can. But for those who are learning, especially if you're young, you don't need it. You don't need it. You can channel it somewhere else and get just as much, if not more. Unless you're really wired. I'm very wired. Okay, so some people could, you know, say for example, instead of prophesizing through like galactic schemes, like going into sacred geometry stuff, you know, and prophesizing things, you know, through sacred geometry, maybe all you need to do is to paint a sacred geometry object. 1, 2, 3, they're selling maybe, or they're not. Then you do something more interesting. Or maybe then you do something more experienced, or maybe something more experiencing, maybe something more fun, maybe something more living, maybe something more innocent. That's the point of life. So with us, what I mean with us is like, you know, those people that do that kind of stuff, we would love to, but we just don't want to go. We can get called, you know, sometimes like, go to this thing. And we can't, because why? There is something inside that goes, God sent to this planet for greater evolution and joy. That's a marketer.